Okay, now we're recording, and just in case, I'll pull the participants up here too. Eek! Sorry, hits record and then plays around again. Okay, so welcome to Coaching and Coffee. And today we're focusing on just like the flow of conversation, because I feel like that's the hardest part to kind of build your own routine with, because it's always changing. There's not one right way, one right thing to say, and you never know what someone's going to throw at you, like what they're going to ask, or like who they are as a person. Like it's always changing, so you have to be very adaptable in what you're saying to people in response to what they say to you. So just to get into it, first, quick review of the people that you're talking to. So you've connected with them first on some level, whether it was a post you made, your stories, or their posts or their stories. So we're never really, like, you're never going to be talking to someone who hasn't seen one of your posts, hasn't watched your stories, or that you haven't engaged with on their posts and stories. That just doesn't happen, because we invite from our list of people watching us, and we invite from our list of people liking our posts, or maybe a conversation gets struck between you and someone who like you follow about something like that they're posting. So you've already connected with these people that you're talking to. So keep that in mind. And I'm not going to go too deep into these things because the connection's a whole other thing, and we're talking about the flow of conversation today, but there will be a recording. You can come back and pause this and read them if you want to, but you should be posting on your stories. And when you do sit down for a power hour, connecting with people on their content that you genuinely relate to. So one more quick overview just of the invites that you're sending. So again, you're getting in people's DMs. So the people watching you, the people watching your stories, those are the people that you're inviting first. And as well as the people who are on your posts as well. That's not in there, but posts and stories. Publicly speaking on your stories, you're putting stickers up there, you're talking and excited about your challenge groups or your sneak peek into coaching, whatever it is that you're inviting to, you're saying it on your stories with stickers and using your voice and stuff like that. And your follow-ups. So anytime someone is even a little bit interested and they're like, maybe, and then they don't sign up or whatever, or they even just respond to you, because we know how many times people just ghost you. So even if someone responds and they're like, you know what, I really like your feed, but it's just not for me right now because I just bought a Peloton bike, whatever. You're like, hey girl, that's sick. Like, enjoy your bike. I'm jealous. Looks epic. You know, like just talk to them and then write their name down on a list, because we all know that you don't get your fitness results by biking alone. So you'll come back to them later and be like, hey, I know you're still rocking your bike, but there's this program that I think you would love because it, whatever. You'll just talk to them later again in life. So that's who you're inviting. So here is where we get into kind of the flow of conversation. You guys need to ditch the cold invite mentality. So no one you're talking to is a cold invite anymore. And I get that a lot of coaches separate it into like warm invite or like warm market, cold market. And warm market is like your best friend, your neighbor, your girl you went to school with. Cold market is people you don't know. But at this point with social media, how it is, if someone's watching your stories or liking and commenting on your posts, they've literally been in your home and had coffee with you. They've met your dog, they've met your spouse, like they know about your life and they already feel that connection with you because they're part of your life. They're the one creeping on you. Do you know what I mean? So when you invite them to something, they already know who you are and what you're about. So never feel like you're that weirdo reaching out, because technically they're the weirdo creeping you every day. Like it's that opposite mindset. So when you reach out to them, they already know who you are. It's not weird. So we don't do cold invites. Like you're never inviting someone who doesn't watch you, who's never liked a single post, watched your stories, or has a clue what you're doing. You're not inviting those people. You're inviting the people that show up day after day to see what you have to say and to like hang out with you, literally join you in your living room kitchen as you make your yogurt bowl, like whatever it is, like those are the people you're inviting. And those are the people that you're talking to. So keep that in mind when you like have that conversation flow. Whatever you've shown on your story, they already know, especially if you're doing your job as a coach and you're showing the same kind of things every day, like with variety of your life, but you're showing your workout, you're showing your healthy meal choices, you're showing some screenshots from your boot camp, you're talking about your group, like they know that stuff. The more you talk about it, the more they know, the less questions they're gonna have, the less objections they're gonna have, etc. Okay, so here's 3 things I'm gonna talk about. I have examples after this, but just as like a general thing, if you're taking notes or whatever, you wanna know how the flow goes. These are the 3 most important things. So number 1, be more interested than interesting. For example, it says learn about their goals, past experiences, questions, concerns. But for example, yesterday, I had a girl who I invited, and this is where I got that example from, she just got a Peloton bike. So she's like, hey girl, I've actually thought about it, but I just got my Peloton and I'm really into that right now. And I was like, that's amazing. And I was like, that's so cool. Like, where'd you order it from? Like, can you tell me? Like, I genuinely had questions because I was just curious now, especially that Beachbody's getting spin. I was like, how can I learn about this to use it to my advantage later on in life? So yeah, I just asked her questions about it, how she was liking it, that kind of thing. And I was like, what's your goals with that? Now we have this conversation, and then it ended off by me being like, go rock it, like I'm jealous, that's gonna be so sweet. But then I wrote her up on my follow-up list, because now a month from now I can say like, hey, like how's your Peloton going? Like, are you like, do you know what I mean? Like now you have that, that's a follow-up for later. I know she's rocking her Peloton, but we can talk about that later again, and I can check in with her still. A, that builds trust. B, she knows I'm thinking of her, so she sees what it would be like to have a coach, like someone who's checking in, someone who cares and pays attention. So never take someone's like, I can't do this right now as a no, because you're still building a relationship for down the road. So whenever someone says no, don't let that be the end of the conversation. Keep asking them questions. And I love the question too, like, depending on what they say, but if you just ask them like, what exactly is holding you back right now? Then once they answer something, that opens up a whole other like door for conversation, instead of just saying, okay, no worries, bye, when they say like whatever their objection is. If you just ask the question. Yeah, so be more interested than interesting. Don't just go off and be like, well, actually, Beachbody does this. Like, it's not your job to convince them. It's your job to make them come full circle and realize what we have to offer, if that makes sense. So it's not your job to take an objection and convince them. You just have to be like, I understand where you're coming from, and talk about it. And then they come around, if that makes sense. But I have more examples when I go through this. So feel, felt, found. That's my number 1 thing that I do and use and love for everything. So regardless of the objection, acknowledge how they're feeling, relate to them in some way. That's the felt part. And we can all relate to how, like, those things, right? We can all relate to those common objections. And then found, that's where you kind of like educate them based on your own personal experience. Make it about yourself. Let them see themselves in you, if that makes sense. Don't tell them what to think. Just say like, here's what I found. So like maybe you would find the same thing, you know? But you're relating with your own story. And I said here, like, I know how you feel. I felt the same way, I found. But it all depends on what the objection is, how you would word that. But those are the 3 main like things you'd hit, which I'll get to again later. And then use voice notes and take videos. So easy, you guys. And you'll see it when I show you my flow. Voice notes and videos are life. So talk it out. As soon as someone's like, I'm interested, I want more info, I voice note them. There's no more texting, because as soon as you do that, I don't know, I just have way more success. It's way more personal if you leave them that voice note. So tell them what it is. And then you could even say like, I'll send you some more info, but let them hear your voice first, because you can build that value using your voice and your enthusiasm and stuff like that way easier than it will come across in a text. especially because when we're messaging things, it almost like looks salesy the way we organize and stuff. So just talk about it. And even better, I have a video saved now on YouTube. But I used to like live for the last 4 years, 3 years, whenever BOD came out, I would take a brand new video and be like, hey, Crystal, thought this would be easier. I turned on my BOD. Here's what it looks like, blah, 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 and show them whatever pertained to them. And that was so powerful. And I still do it. It's just now I have a YouTube video, but because it's part of my PDF. But anyways, we'll get to that too. But yeah, it's always way better to do it with voice notes and actually show them what you're doing. But I'm gonna move on. Okay, so
Sam,
yes, Tiff.
I just want to add in here something that I do with follow-ups that might be helpful.
Right.
So for follow-ups, I have this little notepad. You guys can use a Word document as well, whatever works for you. But like as Sam was saying, like the girl with the Peloton gun, like she's going to follow up with her next month and kind of talk to her about that. I personally keep a little notebook. I write down the person's name, I write down the date that I talked to them, and I just put a little note about why they said no or why they said not right now, so that when I do follow up with them in a month's time or 3 weeks time or whatever, I can say, hey, I know when we last talked that you were using this, and then just kind of go from that. So that's an easy way to keep track of who to follow up with, because I found that when I was just using my Instagram and kind of going through my messages, people got lost there. And you're talking to so many people all the time and you're messaging so many new people all the time that it's easy to forget about those people who might have been interested. So having something that you can refer back to keep those people in mind has really helped me out. So I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be anything fancy. Mine's in my Rise Up planner, but it would, before this, like I just filled notebooks. Like I just wrote names in notebooks and then filled the notebook and bought a new notebook. Like it was very chill, and I would write their name and then beside it, like, has Peloton, invite in April. And then in April, I'd look down my list, be like, oh, invite her in April, and go from there. And then I went through a highlighter phase where I would write down anyone who responded to me. And if they were like a next month person, I'd highlight in this color. If they were a check back in a couple weeks, I'd highlight in this color. Like whatever works for you visually. Okay, so here is, are these in order? Yeah, they are. Okay, so this one I kind of cut off. So at the top of the first one, I sent an invite and she's like, hey, yeah, I'd love some information. This is what our conversation looks like. So I can't actually show you anything, but that like shows you I just sent 4 voice notes. And then she responded with, I'm interested to take a look at the PDF. Here's my email. I'm wondering what the cost per year is. And also if I choose to stay using Shakeology or some other products, what's the cost on those? Or is that all answered in the PDF you'll send? Haha. And then that one I just typed out. I was like, sorry, I thought I said it clearly. I got distracted. It's $186 for the year, so including everything I told her about. And if you choose to stay on them, I'll sign you up as a coach. Don't worry, this really doesn't mean anything. Minus you'll get a discount, haha. So you'll save 25%. So that's how I went about that. And then she ended up looking at the PDF and I sent her out a link just this morning. So we'll see how that goes. But anyways, so 4 voice notes. I did not hold back. There was 4 of them. And I didn't try to squish it all into one. I just said it all. And I always start my voice notes with, I hope a voice note's okay. I don't know why, I just do. Anyways, this girl, hey there, thanks for reaching out. That's very kind of you. To be honest, I don't know very much about how online boot camps work. Would you be able to tell me more about the groups you coach? So once again, I did some quick voice notes. And at the end, I said I have a PDF with more info if you want me to send that to you. So she said, would you be able to send the PDF to this email? Is the program dependent on taking Shakeology, or can you join for access to the exercises? So I chose this one because a lot of times people will say something like, do I have to get the workouts? Or actually, no, this isn't the one. There's a different one. Anyways, so is it dependent on Shakeology? I said, not at all. Shakeology is one of the options of the products that comes with it. I always word it like that, you guys. Shakeology or the performance line comes with your sign up. It's not like you can get these or not. They come with it. like in my brain, they come with your package. So if you want to register for Beachbody On Demand, it comes with either Shakeology or an all natural pre-workout, post-workout that you get to try for a month. So that's my wording. It comes with a month of a product to try. Which one do you want? And yeah, so On Demand is what you're registering for, and you get those for the year. So anyways, hopefully that made sense. Okay. Okay, here's my actual like flow. I typed it out for this one, how I would answer her. So, hey Sam, I haven't given it much thought really. I do have a couple questions. First off, cost and what that would include. Second, I've started and stopped so quickly with other workout programs because I wasn't holding myself accountable, but the idea of hopping on a group chat or something like that doesn't really appeal to me. I know it's a huge part of your business. So I guess I'm needing a bit more information to understand how it all works. I will admit I just need something to hold me accountable, and I like the idea of having programs that are 30 minutes a day. So that was her like huge brick to my like little invite. So here's the flow of what I did with her and any single person who I would talk to. I would voice note them. I would tell them it's like Netflix. So basically what you're registering is like Netflix, but instead of like paying each month, you just pay once for an entire year, which is super nice because then it's a one and done kind of thing. Digitally, you get all the workouts, meditations, yoga, like 2 full nutrition courses that are amazing. Like I always add whatever. And then physically, you're going to get a challenge pack to start off with. You get the materials for those nutrition courses, you get a month of supplements, and you actually get a choice. You can choose between Shakeology, it is nutrition powder, or a natural pre-workout. It's that yellow drink that you see me having all the time. The more you can like relate to your stories, the better. So you watch me have this, you watch me have this, like this is what you see me have at lunch, this is what you see me have before my workout all the time, that yellow drink, etc. And then I tell them how their workouts sync with an app on their phone. This is like my new gold for accountability for some reason, you guys. People think it's so cool, and it is so cool. But I just say I stream my workouts on my smart TV and they automatically sync to the app on my phone, which helps me track my workouts because it knows when I finished one. And then I say you have the option to put it into like our group feed, or you can be more private about it. And basically this app is like our own little Instagram. So you can post, comment, like, but it's way cooler because it tracks your goals, your progress. You choose what people see. I can upload files. I can go live in there and talk to you guys. And it really helps with motivation and accountability. But tell them what you love about the app. But I feel like whenever I say it like syncs and tracks for you and stuff, they think that's really cool because that's, again, something that helps with people stay on track. So, and then if you feel comfortable and prepared enough, depends on if you're like a brand new coach or not, but offer to send them a PDF you make on Canva because more often than not, they'll take the PDF. So make sure, and I made mine based on what they said to do in the Leader Lounge videos. So if you're an Emerald and above, you know what I'm talking about. If you're not, you don't, because it was an Emerald and above group. But we have those recordings. I could probably send them out to whoever wants them. Basically just go on Canva and make a quick PDF about what Beachbody is. And I can post mine, send you mine so you can look at it. And I included that little video of God that's in there and my little stories in there. And my favorite packages are in there. Like here's the 186, here's the deluxe, here's my favorite add-ons, here's how being a coach can help you. Like it just kind of breaks it all down so that when you send it, now they have all the information. But yeah, so that's how I offer more information, but you don't have to do that. You telling them all of that is enough. And you can just say, do you have any questions? Like, did that make sense? Do you have any more questions? And then they'll reach out and be like, yeah, I'm wondering about this. So I know it's a lot to talk about, but if you do it in a voice note and do it like pretty quickly and then ask them if they have questions, that's kind of where I've been having my success with that. Okay, here is the common one. So I took a look through it. I'm just wondering if there's a package that doesn't like, that just has access to the videos. I don't need everything else that comes with it. So this could be worded in any way. Can I just get the workouts? Can I not get Shakeology? Can I not get all that stuff with it? So however they word it, they only want the workouts that they're asking you about. So here's my response to that. give or take some words, right? Yes, you totally can. It's just a much better deal to get the pack. Just the workouts, like a username and password, is $120. And I word it like that every time. If you want just the workouts, you're just getting a username and password, and it's $120. So I'm like, yes, you can, but here's what it is. Or you can get everything, capital letters, nutrition courses, resources, hard copy guides, and a month of supplements, which is $186. I just feel, I don't know why my emojis, when I was on my computer screenshotting it, they went weird. I just feel like if you're doing it, do it. If I didn't get my challenge pack in the mail, feels like Christmas, it wouldn't have been the same hype, if that makes sense. So I always urge that route for the full experience, but you can totally just get the workouts. And then her response moves over here. If I went access to the videos route, would I still have access to your group? And I said, yep. Okay, now I just have to decide which one I want to do. And I said, haha, yep. And then I added on to it. I didn't just leave it by like, okay, you decide. I kept going. So I was like, you'll love the Shakeology, Energize and Recover. So if you're a smoothie person, struggle with workout motivation, hello Energize, or hate prepping for lunch or breakfast, AKA me and why I love Shaco, you'll love them. Plus, honestly, those nutrition programs and education video courses are gold, well worth it. Alone, Shaco is $155.95. So it being included in the pack is a big deal. Well, and then she said, sorry, I have to keep moving. I'd probably be more interested in the Energize one because I don't really need the protein powder that comes with the other one. And I was like, Energize and Recover come together. That's the all natural pre-workout and vegan protein. The other option is Shaco by itself. Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to get the challenge pack with Energize and Recover then, please. So it was a long way around, but she started off, actually I didn't have the beginning of our conversation, but she's currently using like Apple Workouts or something, or Apple Fitness. I don't know, some other app thing. And then I was like, oh, weird, never heard of it. Like, is that a subscription? Like, how does that work? And then she said, yeah, like you just pay monthly. And I was like, oh, cool. Like, if it matters, like you just pay once for a year for what we're doing. So if your month ends up and you want to try this, let me know. There is a 30-day guarantee, money back. And that's actually how we started this conversation. So it went from her being like, I'm already doing Apple TV to I only want the workouts to sign me up with a challenge bag. And it just took educating her, like telling her what it was and that it really was a sick deal compared to what she was doing right now. But okay, so here's your common, oh my gosh, you guys I'm trying to put you up the top and then it like drags you back over here. Okay, so common objections, money. So you're gonna get money objections when you're not talking about money. So every so often on your story, because again, the people that you're inviting are people who are like regularly watching you, every so often just put the price on your story. It'll save you so much stuff down the road. Every so often just say, I can't believe I pay once a year for all of this. And it included my nutrition stuff, it included my meditations, it included everything for only $186 Canadian. Like toss that in there every once in a while, so that at least the people who are thinking maybe have a rough idea, because then you're not going to get that objection as much. And especially if you're building value before you tell someone the price. So the number one thing that used to happen to me is I'd invite someone and they'd be like, maybe how much? Like right off the bat. Don't tell them how much right off the bat and be like, that's when I would still voice note and be like, okay, so it's a sweet deal because you get blah, 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 blah. And it's only $186. And that's, again, for all of that for the whole year. By the time you've built the value, they're like, oh, wow, cool. Like, that's really affordable. And another thing, don't let people object to the price if they don't even know the price. Sometimes people, you invite them and they're like, yeah, I just don't have any extra money right now. I can't afford it. But it's like, do you even know how much it is? Because there's times when I like dug into that conversation and they had no idea how much it is. They just assumed it was like way more than it was. So again, be like, hey, no worries. Like I remember being worried about that too. But then I realized that this is like way cheaper than my gym membership was and way cheaper, like way cheaper than going to spin for a month. And then they're like, oh, how much is it? So just make sure that you don't just take objections and be like, okay, sorry, yep, you're right, bye. Like, you have to dig deeper into those conversations, because normally it's just they need to be taught. And when we don't know something, we go on the defensive and we're like, nope, no thanks. Like, that's just human nature. So make sure that you actually, like, again, feel how they're feeling, like, oh yeah, I get it, like, here's what I found, and then you dig deeper into that. And if they do know the price and they think it's expensive still, acknowledge that and be like, you know what, $186 does seem like a lot up front, but if you do the math, like, you're saving so much compared to going to a gym or compared to whatever. And ultimately, like, you as an investment are 100% worthy of that $186. So between those three, like, things, normally money's not actually the root cause. Sometimes it is, like, sometimes they'll meet someone who, like, especially now, like, COVID's hit hard, they just lost their job, they're looking for work, they just graduated, like, there is a time, and that's when you just write them on your follow-up list. And you're like, I wish you the best, like, here's some free workouts, you guys, send free workouts, because people remember how you make them feel. So if you don't make them feel bad for not having money, and you empower them by being like, you're gonna get through that, here's some free workouts to get you by, and then you think of them a month down the road, like, they remember that. So make sure you have that on your follow-up list. Send this girl free workouts, see how she liked them a week from now, and then maybe invite her in April, whatever it is. So that's your money objection. Your other objection, we've already talked about this a little bit, is they're already doing something else. So I'm back at the gym now, I'm doing yoga, like, whatever it is. They have something else they're doing. Let them know that's awesome. Ask them about it. Genuinely wish them the best. And normally when I close the conversation, I kind of, like, add a way that BOD would fit into that routine if they ever decide they wanted it. So, yeah. So on days, like, so someone who's committing to, maybe they just joined a new class and their class is 2 days a week. And so they're like, oh, 2 days a week, I have this. And I'd be like, that's amazing. Like, I did that for a while. I absolutely fell in love with it. Like, I hope that you kick butt. And then I would end it by being like, if you ever want something short for days when you're not doing that, like, let me know, because these workouts have even 10-minute core, or like yoga for your evenings if you're sore, meditations, like, there's literally something for everyone. So if you ever decided you want to, like, incorporate both of them, it's super affordable and easy to do. So that's how I would end that. So even if they're doing something already, just be like, here's how you could, like, add this in if you needed it and wanted it, and it's affordable and easy. Make sure that you include those words, because they're not going to do it if they think it's expensive and they're only going to do it twice a week for 10 minutes. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's that one. Time. I love time. It's my favorite objection, because I'm like, squash. Anyways, so if someone's like, I don't have time, I'm like, perfect, because this is meant for busy people, so you're welcome. Just saving your life here. But be like, that's exactly why this was invented. Literally, you are why BOD exists, because workouts are short, you don't have to commute, there's no guesswork, you're doing an effective AF workout, so you feel super accomplished by the end of your 20-minute session, so you can go rock the rest of your busy life. And it all depends on what they say. You can make it more personal than that. But just remind them, like, fitness is about consistency. And the number one way to be consistent is by squeezing in something every day. I don't care if it's 10 minutes of yoga before you go to bed so you can wake up refreshed. Like, but yeah, I just remind them that is why this platform exists, is for them. So, yeah. And then like, find out why, kind of like, a lot of times my busy people are nurses. They're the ones who've come up with that objection first. And I'm like, I get it, because I work with nurses in this business, and you are crazy busy. Like, your schedule is hectic. And just so you know, there is a way to do this as a nurse. And I can hook you up with, like, a nurse mentor, Celine, and I can figure out a way that this can work for you. So don't, like, yeah. So use the people you have too, and figure out why they're so busy, and then try to, like, yeah, bridge that gap for them too. Be like, I'll get you some, like, notes from these people with how they incorporated it. And people appreciate that, even just acknowledging that they're busy and not saying, like, we're all busy, you know, like, be like, no, bro, you are busy. That sounds crazy. And this is why you'll still benefit. And then the last one, they don't like or don't think they like or don't think they could. Like they're all going to word it differently, but basically their objection is about at-home workouts in general. So they're like, oh, I can't stick to those, or I would never do those, or I don't like those, or I've tried those and they suck, or whatever, whatever they say. Use feel, felt, found. I'm pretty sure we all kind of felt that way before. We were all hesitant that these things would work. So I would be like, I totally get it. I felt the same way. I used to feel like I had to go to the gym to like get out of the house to make sure that I did it. But what I actually found was that my workouts weren't as effective. I was wasting so much time. Like, use your own personal story. And I'd say I actually did Jillian Michaels as a kid, like the same one, 30 minutes every single day. Like, use your own kind of story and ask. Be like, what home workouts have you done before? Just curious. What have you tried? But yeah, be more interested than interesting, but also tell your story. Use feel, felt, found. And worst case scenario, that ends with you sending them a sample workout and being like, I'm going to hold you accountable to actually doing this. And let's see how that goes first. But yeah, feel, felt, found for that last one. Oops. That was it. Perfect. Okay. So I want to hear from you guys. So think about like conversations that have happened lately, I guess, like, or objections that you're getting often, or things you don't know what to say back to people. Hopefully we've all been inviting in the last 4 days. So like 4 days is like where my memory would end, I think. So even better if it was yesterday. But what are some things that pop up that you're like, I don't know how to respond to this, or I don't know how to like go about this? Do you know what I mean? Jelly bean. I'm gonna stop sharing. There we go. I'm also gonna like read this chat quickly. I want to smack those Peloton bike people.
I just want to say this was lots of amazing information, and it is so important that new coaches know how overwhelming information can be. Like even today, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many things. And I'm like, I do a lot of these things, but I'm also still always learning. So even me, I'm like, oh, there's so much information. I want to try all these things. So
hey, it's
just
recording.
let me know.
There's a recording.
Yeah, the recording is here. And also don't try to like implement it all. Just kind of like take it in, but just, yeah, I don't know. Just know it's normal to feel overwhelmed sometimes. Not overwhelmed, but like you're just like, okay, so much good stuff. Where do I start? So just normalizing that feeling of like, whoa.
Mm-hmm. And something else, you guys, like, I'm sure your coach is cool with this too, but I always tell my coaches, screenshot it and send it to me. And Shelly, she's not on here right now. Shelly's like my prime example of that, because I'd get daily screenshots and like I didn't care at all. I love it. Like I would much rather help you guys say something than you feel overwhelmed for like a second. So if you're like, someone answered me and I don't know what to say, like literally go screenshot, send, Sam, what do I say? And then I'll be like, here's what I would say.
Yes, like do it all the time. It's like I'm pretty sure I did that with you too, Sam, all the time. Like it was just like, and then sometimes I'd feel stupid. I'd be like, hey, I should know how to do this by now. But like really, it's fine. Like if you need help, you need help.
Yeah. And you gain experience as you practice. Like the more people object to you, I don't know if that's the thing. The more people like say no, the more people ask questions, the more people are skeptical, the better you're gonna get at handling it. So just look at it all like a perfect. I'm going to grow from this moment.
Yeah.
Now, that's what I say. Screenshot.
The more confidence you gain in that too, because you'll see that like the more you respond to people in a way using like feel, felt, found, and being interested in asking questions, the more you're going to realize like, oh, that actually does work. Because I remember in the beginning just being terrified when someone would say no. I'd be like, okay, no worries, and I just leave it. But it's like, yeah, then you're not realizing that people actually are needing that education, or those questions need to be asked so you actually know why they're saying no. Because often it is just they don't know, so they're going to say no because that's the easiest way to do it. So
it's harder to follow up with too. Like if you see someone watching your stories and you click to message them and you see you've invited them before, they said something and you're like, okay, sounds good, or no problem. It's harder to like strike up a conversation again. Whereas if you'd been like, if you actually ask more questions about it, then you can go back and be like, hey, how's, like, it just makes it more personal right off the bat and easier.
Yeah.
So yeah, never let that conversation like just end at a no, even if it's you complimenting what they're doing or like ask, like it just something. Just give them more of a conversation then. Okay, sounds good, bye.
Yeah. Okay, anyone else? Questions? All of the things, conversations you've been having.
I have a super random question, not about conversations with people.
Okay.
Okay, so the Shakeology that I have is on like a rolling monthly, right? But this month I want to get like another package of it, like with the samples, and I think I want to try the collagen. Is there a way that I can get it all at once to save on shipping and just come in one box, or do I have to have that separate? Do you know what I mean?
You
I
could,
would just cancel and reorder.
Just cancel and place a new. Okay.
or you could
No.
like your monthly subscription of Shakeology, could you just change it to the sample box? Like you want to get like a full 24 packets kind of thing?
Yeah.
Because you could always go to your,
Bit of a different flavor.
you could go to your subscription, go change order, flavor, package option. Like it gives you that option to change your flavor and change like to the packets, and then you could just go ship now. Oh, but then you'd want to order
It's
collagen.
the collagen. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah, okay, I'll just, or I could, I
I would
guess,
just cancel
skip
and then
it next
reorder.
month.
If you and before you do that though, you can always try and call like support and see if they can do something on their side for you, like add to it. You know how, because you have to, when you cancel something, you kind of sometimes have to call and ask them. You can always ask to see if they can, then awesome. If not, then
I could just skip it too.
I feel like canceling or skipping and then just doing and placing a new order is
fair.
probably the
ship
way.
now.
That's
Yeah,
the
Or,
first option, Dory.
Pushing back and ship
Skip
now.
the month and then reorder.
or you sign up or if you're planning on signing up your spouse, I'm not sure if you're, you could use that option and order the packets of Shakeology with collagen with that as well. Just a little throwing that in there.
I'm on the fence with that whole signing up your spouse thing when you don't use it. I think I need to more about it, if that makes sense. Like I understand the whole doing it for like the extra bag of Shakeology or whatever, because you can get whatchamacallit there, because you get that part. But like the extra membership just seems, I don't know, seems like extra money that you don't need to spend. But at the same time, I do somewhat understand the whole, I guess it's a cycle thing, right? And building up the one side. Does that make sense? That question come up properly?
Yeah, it totally depends on what you are already ordering. Like for me, a spouse account made perfect sense because I was getting Shaco, Energize, Recover, Collagen Greens. Like I get lots of stuff. So it makes sense to only get Shaco under me and get everything else under Leland, because then I make that $20 back plus some in cycle bonuses from him, like, and how that all works out. So it depends on how big your team is and all that stuff. But it definitely has its like it makes more sense to earn like team cycle bonus off of what you'd be ordering, because otherwise you wouldn't earn anything from it.
Yeah, I've made so much money back from using Curtis's account. And another great thing is when you are eventually pushing for bigger goals like Diamond or something, like that can also be a controlled account. Like for me, hitting Diamond was getting Curtis to Emerald by just putting 2 people under him that I knew weren't going to do like the coaching business at the time, and then having one of my other coaches hit Emerald, which therefore boosted my cycle bonus to $18 a month instead of $14 a month. So again,
That's how I hit Diamond too.
Yeah.
It's
Insane.
I-
Leland was my first Emerald too.
Yeah.
To get to Diamond.
There's benefits to it if you're, like Tiffany said, if you're using it, if you're building up to Diamond, like it does have a lot of benefits. And yeah, making money off your orders, if you're ordering stuff anyway, like that's, yeah, why not?
Yeah, I do my Shakeology on my account, just like Sam said, and then anything else I get, like Hydrate, the Boost, Collagen, everything else, that goes under Curtis's account, so I get the volume and stuff from it. And 100%. I save a ton of money. It's like one of the first tips I offer is to use a spouse or use a family member account.
And remember too, like what you use, other people will use. Like if you're like, when I first started my business, I was only drinking Shaco. That was it. I didn't use Energize. I didn't use Recover. It was just Shaco. And it was purely because of money. Because I was like, I don't want to spend money on anything else. So I only had Shaco. I only sold Shaco. People only signed up under me with Shaco. And what I found with Shaco is that you're losing half the people. You know what I mean? Like Shaco's expensive. You lose half of them. Whereas when you're using Shakeology, Energize, Recover, these other things, you have way more retention with someone falling in love with something else because you're not just limiting it to Shaco. So the more that you try and then you encourage other people to try, the more that you're gonna, again, be cycling and like have people ordering. And yeah, it's crazy. And yeah, all those things. Frick, I love Hydrate. I sold so much Hydrate when I was going through IVF because you couldn't drink water. It had to be electrolyte based or salt based beverages. And like I downed Hydrate like a mofo. And that was the first time that like I showed people, because otherwise I would just have Hydrate at spin class. Like when I was sweating a lot and I'd have Hydrate. So I'd get like the spin people who'd see my Hydrate. But like, yeah, the more you use something, the more people want it. The more I like really preached beach bars, and it's funny because I still have them. I just don't post them all the time, but I should be. The more people order beach bars. The more you show your collagen and greens boost, now your challenges are ordering collagen and greens boost. Like, so it's worth it to try those things and put them under your spouse account. And they're write-offs for your first time having products. It's marketing. You write them off as a business write-off. So you're not even, do you know what I mean? If it's an ongoing thing, when you first try them, you write them off for sure.
Yeah.
It's really sad actually. I haven't noticed this many objections about products in my entire Beachbody career. And it's because I'm not using the products the same with just being pregnant. So I'm not like, it's so weird to me. I'm just like, I swear to God, I use it every day, just not right now. I use it every day for 4 years, minus the last 8 months. But like, it's so weird how I've been getting all these objections. And I'm just like, oh, I hate this so much. So crazy. So the more you use these things, show these things, the less I can speak to it now, the less objections you get. Because people are like, well, that's what she's using to get her results. And we like her and trust her and she uses them every day. So why not me? So showcase your products, you guys.
I need to do that more too. Like when I make my Energize, I've showed a few times, like I put my collagen in there. Sometimes I put my Hydrate in there. I make it like a nice little cocktail, like of all the goodies, but I don't show it. And I'm like, oh, I should have recorded that. And sometimes it's just because I'm half asleep in the morning and I'm like throwing it all in.
And again, it saved me so many times just saying, that's the yellow drink you see me drink every day. And people are like, yeah, sign me up for that. But when you're not drinking a yellow drink every day, you can't say that and then you're screwed. So anyways, make sure that you don't even have to like, I just talk. Like I'm talking on my story, holding my Energize. I don't say anything about Energize. Or my selfie has me in my Hydrate. I don't say anything about it. Do you know what I mean? But as long as you can refer back to me like, that's the yellow drink I have every day. Or that's what's in my smoothies you see me make every day. That's what I put in my smoothie bowls that you like on my stories. Like, yeah, just be able to refer back to it.
And that's why it's important to not to just say Shakeology. Like you need to say what it, like, you know, I don't even say the words Shakeology or Energize. Sometimes I'll say Energize, but I'll usually say like plant-based energy, or this is how I get through my day, or this is helping me wake up in the morning. Like make it so people, like the one time I used, or a few times I was using muscle mimosa, which I feel like I need to use more. Someone was like, what is a muscle mimosa? I need that. It's just like, people are gonna like, they're gonna relate more to like your special, like I know I see people use the words for Energize, so many different things like super mama juice and like all those things, and people are more likely to ask or be interested when you don't just say Energize, like build it up kind of
saying Energize or saying Shakeology. It's just when you use other descriptors, you can connect with someone. Because like if you say Shakeology, nothing wrong with that. But if you're saying, like, if you're describing it, then a connection can be made. Because if you're saying Shakeology, someone who doesn't know what Shakeology is, it doesn't mean anything to them. Or if you're saying energized, someone doesn't know what that means, it doesn't mean anything to them. But as soon as you say like, this is my mom crack, or this is my muscle mimosa, all of a sudden people are like, boop, I want that. Like, as opposed to energize. But again, my hashtag every morning used to be rise and energize.
Yeah.
But then I'd also say something else. But yeah.
I find talking about a lot, something I say a lot of when talking about Shakeology now is referring to Down to Earth on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Just being like, Darren Olian, he's the creator.
Yeah. Have you seen Down to Earth on Netflix? He created this. That's perfect. Because a lot of people see that show and have no idea that he created Shakeology. So
Yeah. Okay, do we want to go into the little guided work session now? I feel ready. Maybe we can make a separate recording for that.
sure. I will.
I'm gonna do like a very basic, like, income producing activity power hour.
Courtney, I'm pumped to try everything else after I have this baby, right? I'm excited to go back to my normal routine and life after this baby. I'm excited to wake up in the mornings again. Okay, I'm hitting stop.